Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 1 of the Zero to Hero Challenge here on Maizy Lou Farms with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, I just got off the bus this morning here on Maizy Lou, and there was a bench here underneath a shady tree, so I thought I'd sit and rest and kind of screw up my courage for what I need to do next. I basically arrived here from my old home looking for a new home, and all that I have, I am wearing. And there's nothing in my pockets but some lint and a letter of introduction and some reference letters from my old home. I couldn't even afford the bus ticket to come here. A good friend of mine, Mark, bought me the ticket and sent me on my way. And he's the one that had me gather up some reference letters, and he wrote a letter of introduction. And that letter is for the person who owns the shop here on Maizy Lou, who also happens to be a good friend of Mark's. Mark realized the situation I was in, and he had been talking to John, and John said there was a need for good workers in the area, and that if I came down, he could probably help me get back on my feet again. So Mark provided me the official letter of introduction, and I got the references, and I'm going to pass them on to John, and John is going to see if he can, convince some of the local farmers to give me a shot, because I literally just stepped off the bus, and they're probably not going to be too keen on letting a stranger run their equipment with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So that's the situation we're in. So I'm just sitting here on this bench enjoying the nice morning, trying to screw up the courage to go in and talk to John. But I suppose it isn't going to get any easier if I wait. So we might as well head in and do that. No sense getting run over by a car in the process. Now, a little bit about this challenge here on Maizy Lou Farms. This is a Rusty Money challenge, and it is obviously a start from scratch with nothing. Now, I will summarize the rules here, but I will actually list all of the rules in detail in the comments, along with the other creators who are doing this series. But generally, in simple terms, it is we start with nothing. There are 3 farms on the map. Now, I haven't gone and looked at them. Actually, all I've seen of this map is pretty much what you've seen of it so far here with me. But from what I understand, they're like from $800,000 to $1 million. And to complete the challenge, we need to own all 3 farms, and we need to have animal pens with at least 500 animals in it. So there is a required mod to have the larger animal pens. You cannot have any mods that modify the contract system in any way, so it's base game contracts. But other than that, you're pretty wide open on the mods. And also on the setup, what was recommended is either easy or normal, and I am on normal, but that doesn't mean I might not wimp out and end up on easy. We'll see how it goes. When you start out these challenges like this, I think pretty much everybody goes like gets a chainsaw and starts whacking down trees, like starts with forestry, or may try and do silage along with contracting. I mean, you're kind of limited. I am going to do contracting, but I'm going to try and do it with a little bit of a twist to make it a little bit different, hopefully from what everybody else is doing. But if not done correctly, there is the potential for failure. So we'll see how we make out with that. There is the finances. You can see zeros down the board. So we've got nothing. We can take no loans, but obviously we can borrow equipment to do contracts, and we can lease equipment. Settings is what we wanted to look at here. So for settings, I've done is kind of pretty much my usual fare, normal economy, traffic's on, seasonal growth, 4-day months. I will crank the time up. We'll run probably at 4 or 5 times, something like that. I just like it when the days pass by. Snow on, all of the crop and growth stuff on, as is my usual fare. Disaster destruction, I just have visuals only. Dirt normal, fuel usage normal, and then AI workers, they're not allowed to do anything. So pretty much my standard fare, nothing too different there. Well, at least that's enough to get us going. So we're going to have to do contracts to get our foot in the door, but I want to get out of leasing or borrowing farmers equipment as soon as possible. So I have a plan to do that. So let's see how it goes. But before we can do that, I need to go talk to John. So might as well go get it over with. So I'll go do that, and I will meet you after I am done with that business. So catch up with you in a minute. Well, as is often the case in real life, you imagine things are going to go much worse than what they really do. And actually, John was very understanding and very kind and gracious. So that was nice. And he is quite influential in this region, from what I understand. And so much so that even without my references and such, he was able to convince a farmer to give me a chance. And he's got a contract lined up for me. And the equipment is actually sitting around here. It's a baling contract. Quite a nice contract. Yeah, man, some quite nice machinery here to do it with too. Like I said, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment there. But if we take a look, the contract is on field 3 for $20,000 to square bale some straw, I believe. I guess we might as well get started. So let's jump in this beastie. Turn some beacons on. Now he showed me a map of the area, so I think I know where I'm going. Hope I do. Be a bad start if I mess that up. Okay. Now, I guess we don't need to get in a traffic accident here first day, especially with someone else's gear. I mean, that's why a big reason why I don't want to use someone else's gear, because when you break it, you got to fix it, and you're doing repairs for somebody else. Now, like I said, I want to get into using my own equipment as soon as possible. And some of that I think will start right after this contract, because we can lease equipment. But what I have is a mod installed that sets up a lease more like it would be in real life. So you have to put money down. The more money you put down, the lower the interest rate. Then you pick a term, and then there's a bubble at the end of the term, uh, to buy the equipment out. So I'm going to start doing that and getting some equipment. But the risk there is those lease payments don't ever go away. You've got them every month. So it's not like I can sit back and relax. Those lease payments are going to be in place all through the winter. So I'm not going to be able to get rid of equipment once I lease it. So once I've done it, I got to hang on to it for the duration. So just adds a little different twist, and hopefully a little more challenge. Now I do have the time here in August to turn down so that it will simulate August to be the same length as like September, where it's 4-day months running at 4 times. And I do that even on my Let's Plays, just so you don't get shortchanged on the August contracts that are available. But we have no home, no place to sleep. I didn't even go and look around to see if there's a hotel or anything that, or a motel we might be able to take advantage of, because we will have a little jingle in our jeans here after we do this contract. Now, I've not played on this map and I haven't looked around at it at all, but I right away do like the way the fields are kind of non-uniform, and they got some slope or unevenness to them, some undulations, as Mr. CVP would say. But anyways, I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing contract work. I'm basically going to show you what we're going to do next and then the end result so that we can progress along here fairly quickly. So for now, I will leave you there. I will get this baling contract done and then I'll bring you back in and we'll see where we go next. So I will see you in just a minute for you guys. I will be a little bit longer for me. Oh boy, even with this big fence, that's a grunt going up this hill. That may make things interesting going forward, let me tell you. uh, anyways, I will catch up with you in a little bit. Well, I'm just on my way back to the shop. That contract is done. We'll take the equipment back, drop it off, and collect our money and see what comes next. But it does feel good to know that there's going to be some money in the bank account. I think this is our turn just coming up here. That went pretty well. It's just a little after 10 o'clock, so we've got lots of time left. But that 20 grand is not going to stick around in there for very long because we are going to spend some of it here right away. I think this should be good right here. Jump out, go see John, collect our money. Catch up with you in a second. Well, we have been paid. So if we take a look here at the shop, it'll show us our account balance as well. And you can see we have $19,854. So I don't think we'll have to worry about sleeping on the park bench tonight. Basically, we stepped off the bus at about 9:30 and it's not quite 10:30 now and we've got nearly 20 grand in our pocket. So far, I like Maizy Lou. It's treating us pretty good. But I believe I mentioned I wanted to minimize the amount of borrowed equipment that we used as much as possible. So we are going to take and invest some of that money in our future here. So we're going to start with a tractor. Now, I asked John if he had anything as far as an old Fendt would go, because I really like that Fendt we used to bale. That was pretty darn nice. And he, in fact, does have an old Fendt. And here it is here. Not quite as pretty as the one we were using, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, I guess, as they say. But we do want a little bit more horsepower, I think. About 150 should do us to start off with. I think we'll go with what are our choices? Continental. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think we'll go with those. Haven't used those before. So we'll go with those. Beacon lights, yes. Both of those. We don't want any of this fancy stuff. We can let that go. Decoration, a battery. Yeah, that'd be nice. We do want to start it. And carpet. I actually think that's a battery cover, I believe. Anyways, yeah, I thought saw it was over here. It's what that battery is, I think. Yeah, it just covers up the battery. But yeah, we'll do that. And you know what? What tractor wouldn't have carpet? um, Actually, usually it's quicker to go back to this. I don't think we need the hydraulics. We'll go with the front weights. although there were no weights for the back tires, interestingly enough. And I think we're going to stick with this small air filter. It's over here. And yeah, I think we'll just stick with the standard one to be give us a better view. Now, what I did is I went into another mod and I went and stole the Fendt Petro Blue. So we're going to select that. Uh, I thought I had made that a matte. I did make it a matte. Okay. So you can get any paint finish you like as long as it's gloss. All right, well, that works. Design color. I think if I remember right, that's the grill. And what we're going to do is I also stole Fendt white code. So we'll make that Fendt white and we'll make the rims Fendt white. There we go. Now that's not a bad looking outfit right there. Now, we are allowed to lease equipment. Obviously, we don't have 56,000 to buy it, but I found a mod that sets up a lease like you would in the real world. So that's what we're going to do, and we can select how much we're going to put down. So the more you put down, it lowers your interest rate. So we'll put 10% down. Now with older equipment, I'm limiting myself to a maximum of a 3-year term. Sorry. So that's what we'll do. And then you have an option of how large a bubble you want to have at the end of your lease term. Nowadays, vehicles are so expensive, they're doing that on purchase terms too. You can get a bubble at the end. Used to be only a leasing thing back in the day. So we'll go with, I think, option 3 to keep our payments down here, which leaves us still like an $11,000 bubble. Means we end up paying more for the tractor in the long run. You can see the the total cost goes up, but we'll be able to afford that more in the future than we can now. So we'll go with option 3. So we're committing to $1,200 a month for this. Here we go. It's a done deal. So let's go take a look. Well, there it is. Not a bad first effort, I would say. Let's jump in, take a look inside. Yeah, she definitely doesn't look as modern as what we were using, but I do like that petrol brew. Sounds nice. Oh, yeah. You know what? Should get the job done. And at least well, I was going to say at least it's ours. Technically, it's the bank and a little bit ours. And as long as we pay the bank every month, we get to use it. All right. So now we need to check what we've got for contracts, and that'll determine what we do next. So what has John got for us? And this is a round baling contract. So we'll take that because I know I have a cheap round bale option. Fertilizing we can't touch right now. Hoeing. Um, yeah, let's take a hoeing contract. And boy, look at this rock picking. Ooh, but if we're going to do that, we certainly aren't going to do it with that particular rock picker. That would take a month of Sundays. But I think we'll leave that one for right now. Oh, they've got a nice plowing one here. Okay, I'm going to take that one. So the weeding and the plowing ones come with a little bit of risk, and I'll tell you why. Go back here in the shop. So for plows, I put in this plow. Used it a ton in 22. Haven't used it in 25. It's a nice plow, nothing wrong with it, but the horsepower requirement in 22, I remember, was quite a bit more than this, and it actually took more than what it said to pull it. So I always found you needed 300 horsepower to pull this plow. Now I see it's down at 80. We got 150. So you know what we're going to do with this? We're going to customize this. You know what? We'll just do it. Where's Fent Red? We'll just do that Fent Red. Yeah, it didn't cost anything. We're just going to do a standard lease on this because it's not very expensive. What is it? 8 grand? If we just lease this and use it and return it, like it's only going to cost us 400 bucks plus maybe another hour. We'll see. But I just don't know how it's going to work. So that's why I say there's a bit of a risk to that one. But we're going to give it a try because that's a nice contract. So we just do a standard lease on that one. Um, Back one more here. So that's that. Um, it was hoeing, wasn't it? That's in here. Now this is, I think, is this a hoe or no? It's considered. Oh, that's considered a hoe. See, this is usually my go-to one. That's 36. That's only 12. That's 6 meters, but this is twice the size. Huh. I didn't realize that one was a hoe. I just put that in. What's this one? That's a hoe too, but it's way more money. You know what? I think we're going to actually let me back out. There was a couple hoeing contracts, weren't there? Yeah, there's another smaller one. I'm just trying to mull over if we should buy that one. You know what? I think we will. Oh, back to the shop here again. Let's go. I thought this required more horsepower than this, but it's actually only 150 or 160. Sorry, we have 150, so our tractor should handle that not too bad. I was going to say I did see someone use this with a considerably smaller tractor, only about 120 horsepower, and it worked not too bad. So we should be okay. So we're going to hire purchase this, but it's brand new. We'll put what are we at? 13,000. We'll put 10% down on that one too. But this one we can go for 5 years because it's brand spanking new. Um, oh yeah, and look, we'll go with option two here. This gives us a smaller buyout on it. Um, because that's only 500 bucks a month. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. So we'll have leased ourselves a hoe. And so we got a plow, we got the hoe. Oh, what am I doing? I got to back out here. Now the baler. Now, originally, I was thinking of using one of these, either this old New Holland or this old case baler. But I think we'll actually, it's a tiny bit more, um, takes a bit more horsepower, but we should be fine in that department. Still only does the one size bales, but it's new. This is a new one. So we can, oh, I don't like those little tires. Oh, I do like those. Uh, Roto feed or roto cut. I don't know if that's, well, you know what? Roto feed looks good. I think that's excellent. So I'm not paying $2,500 for something I don't even know what it does. So that's fine. And that is fine. So we're gonna, because this is new, we'll put, we're down to 10 grand. We put 10% down. Maybe John will let us get away with five on this one, and we'll go out to 5 years, and we can go to, you know what? We'll go to option three on this one. I think we'll be keeping this one for quite a while. It's 500 bucks a month. That's going to cost us now. But if we went with the older balers, we would have to go with a shorter term. Okay, so there is our fleet of leased equipment that we have to work with. What we at here in our bank account? So we're down to 8,000 bucks. Because there is, I don't think I showed you this. Oops, no, Murphy, what are you doing? Apparently, I don't know. I want this right here. I was going to buy it. It's going to fit as part of our story. And here it is. It's on sale for 56% off. So I definitely want to buy that. So I got to keep an eye on the used market. But the more money we can make, the more I can put down on that, just like these other items. So we need to get to work. Now, what I am going to do is I am going to take and do the hoeing and the plowing contract. I think I'll do those off camera. They're going to take more time. Well, you likely saw a little jump there, and that's because my recording saved on me automatically. Haven't had that issue for a long, long time, but it just happened now. I hope we're not going to see a reemergence of that issue, but that wasn't the only issue as it turned out. I was having some issues with the game as well and trying to get a save in. So I've actually done a restart of my system because FS25 was acting like it was kind of frozen up. So there may have been something else going on in the background that caused that. So let's hope that's the case. But anyways, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I'm going to do the plowing and the hoeing off camera, and I will take and record some footage of that and share that in a picture-in-picture when we're doing the baling. I am going to do this myself because I can't afford to pay the workers, so I'm just going to have to knuckle down and do it. And then I will bring you back in when we're baling and we'll get some up close and personal look at our baler in action. And like I said, I'll share some picture-in-picture of these two items. And if there's any issues with us using them, well, I'll let you know at that time. But I'm hoping not. Anyway, so I'm going to get to work and I'll catch up with you in a little bit. See you on the field. Well, I'm here working on the baling on field 15. The other two contracts are done. Taking a fairly wide shot here because you are going to see a picture-in-picture come up now of the two other contracts, one on each side. Now, I was able to do the plowing contract with that plow, but it was not without some incident. And truth be told, as you will see when we get to the shop here when we're done this, our money is a little bit lower than it was when I left you. And that's because the tractor I'm sitting in right now is not the same tractor that I had when I left you. I mean, it's the same Fendt make, but it's not the same model. Due to a plethora of Farmer Murphy mistakes, I know some will find that hard to believe, but I inadvertently deleted my tractor off the map. And so I had to go and repurchase it. And when I did that, I didn't realize, I just didn't read close enough or pay close enough attention that the maximum horsepower on this tractor was 185. I thought 150 was the maximum horsepower. So when I went into the menu to buy it, instead of scrolling to the right to increase the horsepower, I just went to the, oh, that's a bad spot. Maybe it'll roll down the hill here. Oh yeah, it's gonna roll out of the way. That's better to have good luck than good planning, I guess. Yeah, so anyways, when I repurchased the tractor, I didn't notice that I was purchasing a one of 185 horsepower, but I did notice it when I went back to the plowing that suddenly I wasn't struggling on the hill quite as much. Yeah, so, and I decided, you know what, just keep it rather than go back and mess around again. So we now have a 185 horsepower version of that same tractor. But it did cost a little bit more, and so our money is down just a little bit because it took more of a down payment. But anyways, the plow did work. Now, even at 185 horsepower, this tractor will not pull that plow at its full rated speed, which is 20 kilometers an hour. On the flat, it's about 15, 16 kilometers an hour it'll pull it. And then up that hill now with 185 horsepower, it's about 11, 12, something like that. And it was a couple kilometers an hour slower with the 150 horsepower. But one thing I did find out is it's actually much better to use a manual transmission with this tractor in that situation, because when I first started using it, it slowed right down because it kept trying to hunt for a gear, and as soon as it started moving, it wanted to gear up right away to to get to the implement's maximum speed. And of course, this didn't have the horsepower to do it, and then it bogged down and shift down, and so in standard I could just pick a gear, and I had one that I could do about, like I say, about 16 on the flats or down the hill, and about 13, 12, 13 on the way up. Just stuck with that gear, so that worked pretty good. So I did keep the plow. It's sitting there, although we did lease it, but I hung on to it in case more plowing comes up in the next round of contracts. Thought might as well hang on to it because we did go just a little over the hour on it getting that plowing contract done, so we can use it for now another almost another hour without incurring any extra costs. So but might as well just hang on to it. Oh, I guess actually, picture in picture will have run its course. You will have seen that. We can go in cab, do a little in cab work like I like to do when I'm baling. So this tractor's worked pretty good. I think it might be a little loud. I may have had to turn it down in editing, but yes, works pretty well. Wow, busy traffic day there in front of us. So we're approaching noon now, so our day is slipping away, even with the time turned down. Oh, I didn't do that very good in cab there, did I? But anyways, you know what? I will leave you there because I don't want to eat up a bunch of time. I'd like to get some more contracts yet in under our belt this episode. So I will meet you back at the shop when this is done, and we'll see what we get up to next. So I'll see you in a few minutes. We are back at the shop, and all our equipment is parked up in this grassy area. John said that we could stage things there for now. I wasn't going to interfere with his operations at all. And this is just an area kind of off to the side and behind the shop. There's the main shop there. So let's go in and collect on these contracts that we just finished. So we did a baling one for 12,000. Thank you. We'll take that. A hoeing one for 7,000. Thank you. We'll take that. And a plowing one for 26,000. Double thank you for that. That one was a bit hateful in the beginning, but once I figured out to use a manual transmission and then accidentally bought the larger tractor, it didn't go so bad. Oh, and speaking of which, I went and looked, and this tractor in the 185 horsepower configuration, it costs us an extra 4,000. So that means we put an extra $400 down. So that's what our bank account was, 400 bucks less than when you saw it last time. Sorry, I forgot to show you that before I went and bought the stuff, but that's the story there. But if we go into the shop and look, we can see there's our finances there. 52,882 is where we're sitting. Now, I said this was going to be a bit risky, and you may be thinking, well, so far, Farmer Murphy, it doesn't seem to be much for risk at all. Well, that is about to change. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to buy, and I'll do all the configuration offline because I'd like to get 2 more batches of contracts done in this episode if possible. So I kind of speed things up a little bit. But what we're going to buy is we are going to buy this old Kenworth. Its final price when it's configured will be 63,000. We are going to buy this sprayer for 140,000. There's no configuration on that. And we are going to buy this spray trailer, which I already told you about. So I'm going to get all those purchased, configured, and then we'll talk some more uh, once they're here on the map, and we'll see what contracts are available and where we go from there. So I'll see you in just a minute. Well, there we go. There is our nifty spraying setup. Now the challenge is, can we turn this into 3 farms? I certainly hope so. That's the plan. We are at basically noon here, so that means we've worked halfway through our day or halfway through our month. So in real life terms, that means 2 weeks. So it hasn't been 2 hours, if you do it in equivalent time. But what I did is the Kenworth, because it's older, it's on a 3-year term. Same with the trailer. The sprayer, because it's brand new, it's on a 5-year term. And that is the reason that precision farming isn't in, because could not even begin to afford to do this with precision farming. So we're starting without it. I'm aware of that technology, but that'll have to come later. So what that meant is I put down 10% on everything. So it's 6,369 was on the Kenworth, 14,000 even on the sprayer, and $3,478 on the trailer. And we can go in here, and this mod gives us a nice little summary if we, want to lose sleep at night. It tells us, what if we want to buy it out, what it's going to cost us, the term, and the interest. But here's the scary column, this one, monthly costs. So the first 4 columns, that is 3,000. And then the bottom 2 is almost, actually, it is another 3 as well. So we're up to 6,000 a month now just to cover our payments. But what we're going to do from this point forward is we are going to try and pay some of these smaller ones off, like the baler is 32, the hoe is, oh, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. The hoe is 32, the baler's 34, our tractor's 54, and so on. So we are going to work on paying some of those off and get rid of some of that. But if we don't, Farmer Murphy's going to be doing a lot of deadwood contracts this winter. But another reason I did this is you will notice the sleeper on here. I know I'm using this truck on Monteith, but the reason I wanted to use it here, it was the cheapest truck I could find with a sleeper, because that is now our home. It is a tool to use to make money, and also our place of residence, because we're going to live in that sleeper, and I guess we'll be eating out of restaurants, or if worst case, I did see a gas station back over here. It'll be gas station food if there's no restaurant in town. So that's the plan. But let's go in now and see what we have for contracts available. I know there were some spraying ones, and you bet your life we're going to take those. Now I bought fertilizer. It was 12,500 for the soluble fertilizer. I have no idea how far it'll go. I haven't played with it at all. Hopefully a long ways. So we are going to accept that contract. And we are going to accept this other big fertilizing contract. And then just for something different, there was, oh, I thought there was a hoeing one in here. Oh, there is not. Well, you know what? We'll do these 3 fertilizing contracts then for now, because we don't have a weeder as of yet, and we'll see what else happens. Now, after we do these, we'll have enough money that we could buy some herbicide because it is crazy expensive. The soluble herbicide is going to cost us 25 grand. That definitely should go a long ways. But there is our soluble fertilizer right there. So let's jump in the truck here. We'll get that loaded. Now there were 3 unload options on this trailer. I I don't think they cost any money, but I picked standard. Here, I'll just show you how I think of it. There was one that put a hose reel in here. Um, you know, that's simulating you'd use that reel to fill. It didn't do anything that I could ever get. It just was for decoration. And then there was one with a boom. That one was pretty cool. A boom arm was mounted and it swung out and actually reached out to the load point, so it looked like you're loading off the boom. But unfortunately, I could never find the control to fold that boom up again. It just was permanently stuck out. So I just went with standard, and that means we can store extra supplies in that cage there and it won't get blown around in the wind. But we should be able to just, we'll pull up beside here and the guys from the shop will very kindly run out and fill this up for us. I don't think it matters which side. We'll soon find out. No, it doesn't. So there is our fertilizer on board. Now, as luck would have it, around back of the shop here, there's a fire hydrant we can use to fill our water tank up. And we'll hold 12,500 liters. Now, I'm hoping that that fertilizer is sized to match the water tank. It means we'll have 12,500 liters of fertilizer but available to us, but I have absolutely no clue. I assume that's filling up. Yes, it is. Oh, so there's where our money is sitting now, $16,514. I'm sure that's full now. Yes, all right. Oh, I guess we need to leave. Oh, we can get to it this way. Let's go in here. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I will do 2 of these off camera, and then I'll bring you in for the last one. So I will catch up with you in a little bit. Okay, we're down here at our last field. I have the HUD on because I just wanted to show you a couple of things, and well, I need it on for the steering assist lines anyway. But that pallet of soluble fertilizer we bought for 12,500 holds 200 liters, and you can see we're down to 150 liters. That 50 liters filled our sprayer up completely, so 2,000 liters. So we will get, what, 8,000 liters of fertilizer from that one pallet. I went and looked, and it's a tiny bit cheaper than buying liquid fertilizer, but not much, just a few $100. But our water tank holds lots of water, so we'd be able to fill it 4 times without getting any additional water. And in fact, we could bring an extra pallet of that fertilizer along if we needed to. But it is going to go a fair ways, because as you will see if we jump in our sprayer, those 2 fields that we have already done only used 25% of the capacity of the sprayer. So it's going a fair ways. Let's go back off here. Now that beam of light is our load point. Now it doesn't matter which load system you take, it's the same, and you just drive over it and automatically fills. Kind of the neatest one, that there was a hose reel that didn't seem to do anything. There was the wand, or boom I think it was, and it reached out kind of at that point of light, and that would have been the one I used. But when I bought it, that boom was extended and I couldn't seem to get it back in probably something I did, but I fiddled around with it and I couldn't figure it out. So actually, I should. This is going to come to all platforms soon, and I know Looney, the farm guy, he'll figure it out. And I can watch him. Maybe we can upgrade our trailer. Okay then. We will select that. Turn that on. Put on cruise control, and away we go. And we are off fertilizing. Now you can see it's only just a little past 12:30. That's one thing about spraying. Oh shoot! 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 Farmer Murphy mistake. Farmer Murphy mistake. Let me open up this and do this. I had the width set down. Let's try that again, shall we? Wasted a bit of fertilizer there. I changed the spray width on the last job and forgot to put it back. Oh well. There's some shenanigans for you right there. There we go. Try that again, shall we? There, that's better. So I'm not going to show a whole bunch of this. We'll get lots of opportunity to see it. I'm going to take every spraying contract that I can get. But I'd like to get one more set of contracts in before we wrap this episode up. And it is getting a little long already, but I just wanted to make as much forward progress as I could. Now I've never used this little star. I have used the other one that is in game right now, the one that will spread fertilizer as well, or solid fertilizer. But this one's cheaper and just does liquid, and that's all we're interested in. So I thought we'd give it a try, and so far it's worked pretty darn good, I must say. Take a quick look at it from this side. Looks like there's some weeds in there. I know I think there was a couple spraying contracts, maybe one of them is for this field. Just the herbicide is like $25,000 to buy it. It's really pricey. But I'm gonna speculate that it's the equivalent of you'll get the equivalent amount of as if you were buying it from in the standard IBCs from the shop. There we go. So you can see this goes really fast. We've only done half the headlands and we're a quarter done already. Nice looking mod. And actually, I just kind of realized this. It's the right color scheme too. Matches our trailer really well. Now, as long as we can pay for it, it'll just be dandy. Alright, well, I'll keep you with me here to finish this headland, and then I'll let you go and I'll finish this up, and we'll meet back at the shop, collect our money, and see what we're going to be up to for the last set of contracts. So and then I think we'll have to call it an episode there, and we'll pick it up right from that point for the next one. All right, so I'll leave you there. I'll finish this up. Look at that headland did half the field. And I'll meet you back at the shop in just a few minutes, and we'll see what we've got in store for us next. So see you then. Well, we're back at the shop, and I must say that's a sharp looking outfit there behind us, and it works really well too. And I hope the bed in that sleeper is comfy because it's home for the next little while as well. But I've checked how much time we've used so far in this episode, and we're, uh, you know, coming up close to an hour. So I'm gonna have to modify my plan slightly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get set up for 3 more contracts. I'll do those off camera, and I will take a little footage that I will share as picture in picture, and then we will pick it up from there. Next episode, we'll hand those contracts in and carry on. So first we need to accept the contracts that we've already done. And so they're all fertilizing. So nearly 7,500 for that one, nearly 9,400 for that one, and 13,800 essentially for that one. And I have taken a look ahead so I know what we're going to do. So we're going to take this square baling contract for 16,000. And there are 2 weeding ones here that total a little over 13,000. And you may be saying, well, Farmer Murphy, you don't own any of that type of equipment. Well, we don't, but we're going to fix that. And if we go into the shop, we can see that our money is at 47,000. And what I'm going to do is go and spend some of that right now. What's first? Weeders first. So I have kind of scoped things out. We could have gone with this weeder here, 6 meters, but it only does 12 kilometers an hour. But for $12,000, we get one here that is 6.2 meters, but it does 20 kilometers an hour. So essentially, it'll almost cut our time in half, but it will eat up almost all of the money from the contracts. So basically, the contracts, what we're going to get for it is a weeder. And yeah, we'll take that just the way it is, and we'll buy it in full. So we won't increase our monthly payments any. And then next should be balers. Now, originally I was thinking of using this chrome baler, but I ended up putting in the John Deere ones, and we'll use one of those. Now, these are essentially are the same baler. Krona made this baler here, and they discontinued it, and John Deere bought the design rights, and they made this 100 series here for the U.S. market, and the 690 for the European market. But you can see we can buy that for 12,000. So we'll go in and do that. And we are going to need twine, and I want to change this to yellow. It hurts my heart to say this, but apparently from what I read, this was a piece of crap in real life. They should have just left it retired. Probably why Krona abandoned it. But anyways, for us, it'll work just fine. So that's 13,000. So we'll be 6,000 or sorry 3,000 ahead on that contract, so we'll gain about $4,000. So our bank account should be once we accept those up around 51 grand. Now let's just go in. I'm pretty sure I would, yeah, nothing else has popped in. We just have these 2 spraying ones, but we need to buy $25,000 worth of herbicide to do those. And we have this stone picking one, which I suppose we could lease the big stone picker and do, but that'll be a last resort. But like I said, we'll end up with 50 grand in the bank. That'll make our monthly payments for about 6 months, actually. So I don't think we're going to be in any kind of trouble. But we're going to have to wrap it up here for this episode. So we'll pick it up from this. I was going to say this point, but it won't be exactly this point because I'll have used some time to get those contracts done. But when they're done, we'll pick her back up and we'll see what other trouble we can get into. But if you're still with me, I really appreciate watching. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, why, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode here on Maizy Lou, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.